that was the first legit time in 7 years that I said, "I don't wanna do it anymore,"
Mhm.
because I feel like it's changing the person that I am. Golf is changing who I am, and I've always been off the golf course. I'd like to think a very fun, enjoyable, loving person. I get along with just about anyone, and I hated that it turned me into someone that I'm not.
Mhm.
Because I would get on the golf course and I'd be so negative. I would literally be walking by myself 50 yards ahead of my caddy and just be in this dark zone in my head. Got really sick at the beginning of 2015. I thought it was just the flu, and then suddenly the flu turned into a bunch of different symptoms and struggling with my stomach. I literally couldn't make it through rounds because I was so miserable with like digestive issues, with like uh my like joints hurting, like crazy things. You're like, okay, I'm not 80 to 90 years old. Like this should not happen. I felt like I spent my first 3 years on tour trying to figure out health issues more than playing.
Welcome to Fairways and Feelings, the podcast where we take a step off the course and into the lives of the people that are shaping the game. I'm Danny, and today I'm joined by Sophia Popov. Now, Sophia is a major champion, a Solheim Cup player, and one of the most compelling stories in modern golf, in my opinion. In 2020, she actually won the AIG Women's Open at Royal Troon, being ranked as world number 304. Um, a result that shocked plenty of people, although, as you'll hear in this conversation, it starts to make a lot more sense when you understand what came before it. Because Sophia's story goes well beyond one brilliant week. We talk about growing up in a proper sports family, moving between German and American cultures, playing college golf at USC, and the years on tour where she was dealing with illness, losing her card, grinding to keep going, and quietly wondering whether golf was turning her into someone she didn't want to be. This is a conversation about ambition, pressure, identity, support, and what happens when the thing you've chased your whole life starts to take a different shape. And this episode is brought to you by Florio, golf's mental health movement. We're here to make mental health feel normal in golf, less awkward and less hidden, and something that's just easier to talk about. Now, part of that work is Healthy Minds Golf Club, our online mental fitness hub specifically for golfers. And it's where you'll find honest stories from people like Sophia, Suzanne Petterson, Marco Penge, Stuart Appleby, and loads more, along with simple guides and tools that you can use to help handle life's ups and downs a bit better. Go have a look. I'll leave a link to it in the show notes. Now, here's my chat with Sophia Popov. So, Sophia, how are you today on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mm, Probably about a 7,
Okay.
6 to 7.
Okay. I hear that answer quite a lot.
Yeah,
There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with
it's
that. There's nothing wrong with that. But
a a 10's pretty hard.
a 10, yeah. Is there a particular reason for 6 or 7, or is it just everyday life?
Everyday life, parenting,
Yeah.
being very pregnant and trying to handle a toddler, and a toddler that's pretty attached to me right now, due to the fact that there's a second one coming, and
Okay.
it's just everything is a little bit more exhausting. I'm like the constant pick me up, and then also play with me all morning, and is but also trying to do the laundry, cleaning up. I just feel
Mm.
like it's stressful. It's like you wake up, breakfast is fine, and then after that, it's just a little bit of chaos. So I would just say, honestly, like everyday life.
That makes sense. And yeah, I have to say resonates with me as well, to be perfectly honest. I feel like my number kind of deteriorates throughout the day, I think, and then it gets to, like, evening time, and it's like, "Don't ask me anymore."
Zero.
0,
Absolute
exactly.
zero.
I'm done, ready for bed.
Yeah, yeah, bedtime, 7:30.
Literally,
I'm out. Yes.
literally, that is we literally have dinner, and then it's like, "Okay, where's the couch? Where's bed?" And then
Mhm.
it's done.
Yep. Yeah, I lay down with her and I fall asleep every single time.
Really.
And I'm just like I wake up, like, 2 hours later, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm in her bed." And I, like, totally disoriented. I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Now I might as well just continue sleeping." So, yeah,
Exactly, literally.
that's pretty much bedtime.
Sophia, I'd like to talk about your childhood a little bit, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Take you back to you growing up in Germany, actually. So you moved from the US, I believe, when you were very young, but you moved to
Mhm.
Germany where you spent, I think, the majority of your childhood. Um, if we went back to your, let's say, your family home and we cracked open a photo book, what would we find you doing? What would we see in that photo book?
I think a lot of sports. I
Okay.
feel like you'd see a lot of sports. When I, look back at just the time growing up in Germany, I feel like it's interesting. We took a lot of, I was 5 years old, so we took a lot of the things that we like to do in the US over with us to Germany. So
Mhm.
my brothers kept playing ice hockey. I played a little bit still in Germany. We all started soccer. I started playing or football for you. um, and then I started playing tennis. My mom was a swimmer, so naturally she put us
Okay.
into swimming. So I feel like it was our life revolved a lot around sports because the minute I got out of school, I feel like it was just this kid goes there, this kid goes there. And at home, I just think a very uh, chaotic three kid family, two older brothers, a lot of bullying me. No, in a
The
very
younger
in a
sister.
loving way. A lot of punches thrown, punches taken. um, probably me being the instigator, but then telling mom I'm not the instigator. So it's I think those pictures would show a little bit of chaos at home, but like a very obviously loving families, and that's very, very sports oriented.
You've mentioned your family a lot there. I'm gonna take it that you are close with your family. Your two
Mhm.
older brothers you've mentioned and your parents. Is a close-knit family
Yeah,
unit.
very, very, very close. I think I always say we're so lucky. A lot of people don't uh they don't have that relationship with their especially their siblings. I mean, a lot
Mm,
of people, they're close with their parents. I'm obviously my mom. I'm super close with my mom. My mom travels with me all the time
okay.
to help me with Maya, with my daughter, when I'm playing. And my dad, I've always been close. My dad's kind of been the take us out on the weekends to sports kind of guy. And but my brothers especially, we're super, super close, and we all have kids now. Nick, the middle one, finally followed on the 4th of February. Had a kiddo, and so now we've got 5 total. And I think the cousin bond that they have is extreme and something that's very important to us. So the 3 of us are very close, and always have been. I mean, I would say from like 12, 13, 14 on, where I wasn't a complete nuisance anymore to them. We started hanging out a lot and being really, really good friends. So that's definitely kind of the focal part of my life, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's lovely to hear, obviously, and I think it can do so much in terms of shaping you in your childhood as well, can't it? Especially having two older siblings as well. Um, I'm sure you learned a lot of things from them along the way, good and bad. But
Abs- Absolutely, good
yeah.
or bad. I think honestly, I think the bad stuff is the stuff that kept me away from doing
Mm,
anything bad. Like I think I learned a lot through. Obviously, they're brothers, right? They're boys. They're gonna do weird stuff in their teenage years, and I think that was actually very important for me to see
Mm,
because I think it showed me what I don't want or what I should stay away from.
yeah.
But they also were very, very clear in the way that I think, guided me, from a certain age and said, "Boys that are like this or that do this are no good." And
Oh, very good.
I always be
Okay.
like, "Okay, good, good to know." So if I ever hung out with any of them and we were all in the same school, I had no chance because they would just come along and they would swipe them away, let's say,
It's the
"You're not."
stereotypical older brothers.
Hell, 100%,
Yeah,
but always for the better, and I never felt
yeah,
like they stopped me from doing anything, that I would have benefited from, or not benefited from. They were always very, yeah, just I think always had a watchful eye. So definitely the good and the bad, but overall,
yeah.
always for the better.
And I mentioned earlier, obviously, that you moved over at a young age, right, from the US. So, is part of your family American? Then I'm gonna take it. Guess.
Yeah. So my mom, really just my mom. My mom was born and raised in Boston, or just outside of Boston.
Okay.
Um, but to German parents.
Oh, okay.
So she actually grew up bilingual, speaking German at home, but then English in school, in college, through her master's program. And it's only after that, when she met my dad, that she kind of picked up German again.
Hmm.
But now in our household, we speak German. So she is technically American, but she's a dual citizen, just like all three of us. My dad's the only one not, but uh, so she's kind of that American link. Other than that, really, everyone is German or my dad's
Mm,
side Austrian.
okay.
So yeah.
Interesting. And so you obviously moved over at a young age. I lived in Germany as well, or grew up in Germany. I see the picture of Cologne behind you. That's where I lived.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always kind of viewed Germany. I obviously loved my childhood, but I've always viewed it through a slightly odd lens because of my kind of international background or heritage, I guess. So I was curious to hear if you had kind of your own version of that to some extent.
It's funny because it goes both ways. I would say as a, let's say, American little kid coming to Germany, and then again as a German, I would fully call myself a German going back to college. Like
Mm,
it went both ways, and it's actually interesting you said that because I think going to Germany, I always felt like there were certain things I looked out for in Germany that I didn't find, or people were different. And I think sometimes if I ever, I mean, I can't complain about my like childhood in Germany. I had an amazing time. I had amazing friends, a great time in school and in sports. But I think that sometimes these American values that I had sometimes would clash with the ideas and the things that people in Germany would think.
mm,
And I have that to this day. And it goes back and forth because then I would go back. That's what I was trying to say when I go back to college. And now I'm hanging out with predominantly American people.
mm.
I bring these values that I've in the meantime learned from Germany, and I bring them and I go, "You don't do this, or you don't do that, or you don't say this, or you don't say that." And I think I'm always a very straightforward person.
Mm.
I always say things how they are. And sometimes I would if I ever ran into issues with, let's say, teammates or something, it's because I have this idea of how things should be in my
Mm,
head, but then I come over here and I'm like, "Oh, they do it totally different, or they
mm.
think different, or they," and it's interesting how it goes both ways, but there's certain things over, whatever, those 20 years of having gone to Germany and then come back, that I would say, half the things I love about it there, and I loved my childhood and growing up there, but then other things where I say, "I really like it here," and those are things that are important to me. So, yeah, I think it definitely goes both ways in that sense.
Yeah. And I agree with that as well, actually. I actually moved to the US as well. I did college golf for a short stint as well for a while. And it was obviously same kind of age as you. And it was the same thing, like kind of bringing what I'd known growing up in Germany and those values over there, and it was like, a bit of a clash at
Yeah.
times as well. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Um, and yeah, but one thing I always think about is, and I still don't really have an answer for it, is like which side I actually feel like most
Yeah.
connected to. Like, do
Yeah.
you have like a side that I think you briefly mentioned Germany before, but do you have like a
Yeah, it's hard to say because obviously I have sports ties at home. When I say home, I mean Germany usually
mm,
because like I played for the national team for a long time
yeah.
and I still play for Germany when it comes to golf. So anything sports related, I played a Solheim Cup for Europe. I would never not do that. It would take a lot to switch aside on that because even though I'm a dual citizen and I love the US and I love so many things about it, but I think that when you those developmental years, and I would say especially between like 8 and 16,
Mm,
or maybe even 8 and 18, I spent in Germany, and I think they definitely shape who you are.
yeah.
And then you take that with you, and now living here in the US, I love it, and I love I think just the fr I guess the freedom to just honestly be whoever you wanna be,
Mm,
and that's okay to be that, have those characteristics, but you live here and everyone just embraces it and loves it, and it's tough because I like I said, it's both, and I love things from both sides, but I think because I spent those early childhood years all the way until 18 there, I'd say that's why I would definitely always call myself German first, and then obviously my husband's German, so we speak German at home and,
mm.
um, with our daughter too, so it's kind of I think that
Okay.
also plays a role.
I was actually going to ask that later on. I was curious to hear that what language you actually speak at home with
Uh-huh.
your daughter. Is it just fully German? Yeah.
Fully German.
Mm.
She's a fully German kid, living in the US. It's pretty funny. She could speak both, so her cousins speak English, and so she will go there, and then she flips a switch, and she just starts speaking English, but she speaks it with I mean, she's turning 3 in June, but she has, like, little grammatical like, she'll use German grammar but say it all perfectly in English. But it's like
Wow.
sometimes the sequencing or the words don't I guess the order of the words of the sentence are not fully correct, but
Yeah.
she doesn't care. She speaks and obviously you understand everything. Um and she picks up like the dialect and the American tone and everything, so it's pretty cute. But we make a point out of only speaking German at home because German, as you know, is a pretty tough
Yeah.
language. English is gonna be easy down the road, but
Mm.
German is if you don't pick it up now, you're never gonna pick it up, so
Yeah.
that's important to us.
I agree. I'm doing the same. So I speak predominantly German with my son, even though we live in England. And my wife's American, so she speaks English. Well, he speaks English everywhere else, and same
Yeah,
reason. Obviously, is it's difficult to pick up German along the way. Um,
yeah,
but I think it's the same thing. It's fascinating to see just how their language develops and like how their brain is just a sponge, right? Like it's just like
yeah,
so
it's
quick to learn, so
incredible.
quick to like he wakes up one day and he's just learned like a whole new string of sentences. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
where did that come
and a
from?
long words, like, to me,
Yeah.
sometimes she'll say words, I don't even use them. I'm like, "Where did you hear that?" And she's just like, "Oh, Oma said it the other day," and and it's like a very complicated, weird word, and
Yeah,
she knows where to insert that word, and I go, "This is mind-blowing to
it
me,"
is.
because it's
Yeah.
obviously in real time, you wake up and suddenly they'll say something, even that they were dreaming of or heard the last
Mm,
night or 5 days before,
yeah.
and she'll be like, "Yeah, when we were hanging out with da da da," and this was like a week ago, they said, "I shouldn't do da da da," and I'm like, how do you even remember? Like, I could barely remember what I had for
I was
breakfast.
going
I'm
to say,
like,
it's like, you're
it's
2 years
crazy.
old. You should
Yeah,
know this.
yeah, yeah. You can't reason, but your language development is great.
It is insane. It's fascinating to watch and kind of see it develop every day. So I have to
Yeah.
agree with that. Um, your golf game. So going back to your childhood. So like I said, I grew up in playing golf in Germany myself, and I knew of you from a very young age because I feel like you were kind of on the German golf scene very quickly and at a young age. So would love to kind of hear how you first got into golf.
Um, so I would say my dad is the one that he's a golf fanatic. He loves golf. Has nothing. It never really a competitive bone in him as far as wanting us ever to get into competitive golf, but he loves golf. He comes from a hockey background also, and
Mm,
he picked it up when he was, I think, mid late 20s after college, after university in Germany, and he took to it, loved it. And so when we were kids, even already in the US, he had to take us on the weekends sometimes because obviously during the week he was always gone, and um, he said, "Okay, you know, I'm not going to generalize to dads because my husband's also different, is also helps out during the week. But I would say when I grew up, most dads were always like, okay, what do I like doing? I'm going to take my kid and do that. So off we
sounds
go to
pretty
the golf
accurate.
course.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty accurate,
Yeah.
right? So he took us out when we were really little and just, mess around and hit a few shots here and there. And obviously, my brother's playing ice hockey, me starting to play ice hockey, like the whole hand-eye, club in hand thing came pretty naturally. And um, I played, I started, I would say, we joined a club in Germany in 98, tiny club,
Mm,
Johannisthal, where I'm from. And I would go out there and I would have my mom would sign me up for junior practice. It started at once a week, every Wednesday. And then she said, okay, there's also one for older kids on another day. Do you want to go a second day? And I said, yeah, why not? It was a lot of, you hit 5 balls and then you do a lot of jumping through hoops and running around and all this
yeah.
crazy stuff. So I actually enjoyed it. And I, you know how it is as a kid, it's really funny. You do these things that you look back on and you say, like I did my what we call you know it is like Goldabzeichen. So like when you're a
Yeah.
kid, instead of like as an adult, you have to get your handicap. You have to go out and do your in Germany we call Platzreife, where you like get basically the okay to go and play golf on a golf course. As kids, it's like the bronze, silver, gold. And then gold gets you to actually go play handicap 45, I think. And I thought, oh, awesome. Like I got silver. Oh, I got gold. Like la di da, easy. But it's like this whole process was so fun to me of like,
Mm,
okay, now I can go play on the course. That I go out and I just like hit the ball. It's just something like so just like not it doesn't seem like hard work when you're a kid. You're just going out there and you're having a
yeah.
good time, right? So I loved it. Played tennis at the same time though in my hometown, and so that took up a lot of time. I actually practiced more like 3 to 4 times a week with tennis. This is like around the age of like 8 or 9. And then golf was maybe twice a week. And then suddenly my coach goes, well, this is like this junior team coach. He goes, well, you have a lot of talent in golf. And my parents were like, okay, well, what would be the next step kind of thing. And St. Leon Roth, one of the biggest clubs in Germany, was about 45 minutes away for us. And that's where like the good, really good coaches were and where you could kind of individually start thriving. I had no idea. My mom was like, you know what? Why don't you go see a coach there and then we'll just go from there? I said, okay. So I started these like individual lessons. And then I started working with a coach there, and things went pretty quickly, I would say. I started just not just loving the game, but I've always loved that the grind, the practice, the getting
Hmm.
better every day, and the s- learning how to swing a certain way. In Germany, we're extremely technical, right? 6 months of the year, we're just in a we're in the bay
Yep.
hitting with cameras.
Hmm.
It's just off you go into the scope for about 6 months to perfect your swing, and then hopefully it works during summer. And it was kind of like that it was a playful way of working on my technique, and I just enjoyed it so much. And started, signing my mom signed me up for more tournaments and all that. And I think a part of it is too, the golf world is not huge in Germany.
Mm.
So I think making forward strides and developing can happen really fast, because if you have any sort of talent, it shows up on a regional level pretty quickly. And then you have this, in my opinion, amazing system of having your little, let's say, county team to the regional team and then on to the national team. Those steps forward are very natural. Like you get better and you strive to be in that next team, and then you
Yeah.
strive to be in that next team. And at the same time, you're also playing for your club
Hmm.
team. There's that fun, like, I'm with my girls and we're playing German championship, and all this stuff it's all fun. And I think that was really important to me, because as much as I love to play and individually, and I always found a lot of kind of zen in my practice, I love that team aspect almost the most about growing up playing.
Yeah.
So I'd say naturally I kind of progressed. And then at about 12, 13, I think tennis and golf for me started kind of, they started interfering with each other, tournaments on the same weekends, etc. And I think from that moment on, and I don't know, this is another thing, like, you try to look back, you try to remember how something happened, but I would probably say, just coming from a competitive family of athletes, my brother was a competitive swimmer. He was swimming very, like, high level in Germany, or like on a national level already at that time. My other brother in golf, just seeing that, I think, made me want to continue doing that, and I
Mm.
actually saw a future in sports. I think that many kids, to them, it's not clear unless the parents push it on them that it is a future career path. But I think when I was about 14, I knew my mom. She went to college for sports.
Okay.
Both my brothers ended up going to high school in the US to finish for sports. So 11th and 12th grade, both of them, one for swimming, one for golf, because they wanted scholarships to
Mm.
school. So this was all put into my head already around the age of 14, 15. So then I was like, I had this clear goal in my head of, I want to be the best golfer in Germany. And then, in order to get to college, that was like my number one actually goal,
Okay.
was
Yeah.
like getting a scholarship and playing college golf. So I think, I'm not sure if I even, like, professional golf really was a thing in my head at the time.
Okay.
It's really tough to say, but I think that's just kind of how the natural development came. And I think a lot of it came from home, just seeing it through my brother,
Yeah.
my mom, and then her talking about, hey, we might want to talk to, or we might want to write to a couple college coaches, all these little things. And
Hmm.
then naturally you go and you play the tournaments, that's the great thing, in my opinion, in Germany, is you have the age groups, right? You play German championships, is like AK 14, so like under
Yeah.
14, under 16, under 18.
Yeah.
And you see your developmental, like, how you're doing and all these things. So,
Yeah.
um, even just a few days ago, we talked about that, how I love the system that we actually have over there,
Mm.
as far as getting getting kids to the next level. So I think that's kind of how the golf journey developed in over there.
Yeah. It's funny. It's the one thing that I always say looking back as well. It was obviously at nowhere near as high of a level as, certainly on Roth, the team that you played for. But even, at a lower level, which is what I played at, it's the one thing that I still fondly remember as like a really, really great thing was the team environment,
Mhm.
and like you said, the different youth categories and then the first team and everything. And it's just, I still move to all these other places like the UK, for example. And I'm like, why don't we have that here? You know, like, why doesn't this
Mhm.
exist everywhere? It's weird. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
strange. But
Yeah, even later in life. Like I feel like now,
yeah,
if you move somewhere, you're not playing professionally anymore, but being able to play like in Germany, we still have, a Bundesliga
yeah,
where the regular working folks
yeah.
they practice in the evenings just to have to make it to on that team to play those 5 weekends and a potential Final Four. Like it's a cool thing to strive to do even
Mm,
after playing professionally
yeah.
or not.
I
So
agree. I agree. It's one thing that I definitely wish we yeah had over here as well. Um, you mentioned obviously the competitive family that you're in. Very sports orientated family, and you kind of went down the golf channel to some extent at a fairly young age already. Was there ever a point where you kind of felt a point where you were under pressure a little bit?
um I would say there was always a point where I felt under pressure by myself
Okay.
and only by myself. And I think at least growing up, that was the best thing I think that could happen to me is that like any pressure I put myself under, it was coming from me. Because I wanted something. I wanted so desperately to win a certain tournament or something. And I think a specific point would probably actually be the first time I tried to make a junior Solheim Cup team. And I remember in 2018, points started 2008 points started counting for 2009. So that's the junior Solheim Cup I
Hmm.
played. And I remember, watching just the Solheim Cups on TV. And I was like, I so badly want to make it on this team. And I knew, okay, now these international events that I'm playing are all counting. And these are points that I have to make in order to make this team. And it's the first time I think I felt a pressure to try to achieve something that I really
Mm,
wanted. I think up until then, I have to say I played pretty freely. I just played. I got nervous because I loved it, because I just loved to play, but never because I was actually trying to or I would have been disappointed if I didn't reach something. But
mhm.
that's definitely the first time because I also knew it was a huge part of the college recruiting
Yeah,
process. And um, I think I would say that's the first significant time where I would say the real pressures of golf kind of started not getting to me because I actually dealt with them pretty well, but I experienced it for the first
yeah.
time.
And you mentioned college there already, so you got recruited at
Mhm.
University of Southern California, I believe.
Mhm.
Had a successful time there, I believe. And at what point did you decide then that maybe pro golf is in the cards for you? Was there a specific moment or a tournament or anything in particular?
So it was actually after my freshman year. For two reasons. I had a very good freshman year. I think I won 3 times, and I was national freshman of the year at the end of the year. But I also um, my freshman year I struggled a little bit with my team, um, and I looking back, it wasn't anything really significant. But when I earlier on talked about kind of the differences of growing up in a different country and then
Mhm.
coming somewhere and having a very multicultural team because we were from everywhere. I think the hard part for me was that team was pretty tight knit and had a lot of juniors and seniors on it. And I was together with one other girl. We were the only two freshmen. And um, I kind of learned that they tried to do everything to kind of keep their team order, and
Mm,
coming in and playing very good golf didn't sit well with them. So now looking back and when I talk to some of them, it's obviously you joke about it because you're just in a time of your life where, yeah, it's the pressures of golf that get
Yeah.
to you and to you, I think to your personality a little bit for the first time probably in all of our lives. But it was just interesting because it made me kind of stick to myself and do my own thing and actually end up playing even better. And I thrived that way. So there's a part of me that was always thankful for that. But after my freshman year, I remember giving my mom a call and I said, listen, like I'm playing the best golf of my life right now. And I feel amazing. I know on tour, I can keep up with the girls on tour. And I'd love to. And obviously at that point, I'm watching so much more LPGA. I'm like
Mhm.
keeping up. I know all the players and all that stuff. And I so badly want to go to Q school, like at the end of that year, which would have been the first semester of my sophomore year, second year. And my mom said to me, I remember like this phone call so vividly because I just said, I'm not really happy. My teammates, it's tough. I remember going home to Germany over the summer and being the happiest person alive because I had all my friends back. I had the
Mhm.
European golf that I loved, all of our like the European team championships, individual, all these golf tournaments that I loved. And it was my total getaway for me mentally because I was away from this kind of college pressure. And then my mom just said to me, she said, okay, we'll make a deal because she said, you're at a very good university. Your degree means a lot coming from there. Um, you're on a full scholarship, which one day you'll realize what that means at a school like that. And I put all these things together in my head. And she said, "Well, we'll make a deal. You'll start your second year, and if you're really miserable and if you really hate it, I'm not going to force you to stay, but um, just get going. See, you never know. You might make some new friends. Blah blah blah." I said, "Okay." And I remember starting my sophomore year and then becoming really good son, like through my brother, really, who swam at University of Arizona.
Mhm.
I got to know our swim team really well, and I had all these friends. I moved into a new apartment with new swimmer friends that I had, and I started having the time of my life. And I I didn't play as well. I only won one tournament that year. But for my standards, didn't play as well, but I was having a really good time in college, and it helped me to kind of find that balance between enjoying myself, but still playing high level competitive golf. And I said, you know what? I'm at the time 19 years old. I will graduate when I'm 21 because I started when I was 17, and I'm only going to be 21 when I graduate. No one's going to be able to take this degree away from me.
Mhm.
I don't have to do it sometime down the road. Biggest nightmare. Pay for it. Oh God, no. So I said, it's smart to just stay in school now, enjoy it, enjoy college golf. And I just enjoyed it so much more. Got along with my teammates. The traveling part, I loved, I loved it all. And so I actually to the point where after I graduated, I was a little bit nervous about going to Q school and then getting through and living this like lonely lifestyle of no teammates, I'm on my own, all this kind of stuff. So,
Big change.
yeah,
Yeah.
big change. So that's kind of how it went.
It's an interesting one, and thanks for sharing that because I think you definitely not alone when it comes to college players, and I think that goes for any college sport really. There's so many different immense pressures that are put on you, right? There's obviously the pressure of the athletic side of things, right? The pressure to perform, but then there's also, like you said, you're 17 years old, right? Moving to a different country, being thrown into this random environment. You're living by yourself or without parents for the first time. And all of a sudden it's like, here you go. Now figure it out. Go make new
Yeah,
friends. Go play the best golf of your life. And it's hard,
so hard.
it's really out there now that, there's um, there's data coming out around like mental health being a really big topic in that category, I think, of athletes in particular.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
such a
Yeah,
such a lot of pressure. So yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You obviously, so that you mentioned then Q score. I would. I think when people tell your story, I think they usually jump straight to the classic, the big win.
Mhm.
But what do you feel like gets lost when they skip over those years?
Um, just really 6 years of total grind and no success. I think sometimes it's so easy to say, I'll jump forward a little bit because it makes more sense that way. But after I won, I remember all the interviews that I had, and especially in Germany, all these interviews would be like, "Oh my God, like the best, like, the biggest win of your life, and what are you gonna do with that winner's check?" And and I was always like, I first of all, I couldn't care less about the winner's check. Like what this win means to me,
Mm,
like you have no idea. I haven't even looked at what the winner's check is. But not only that, but I'm like, I am basically covering the last six years of playing competitive golf
yeah.
and not making anything.
Mm,
So like, and not making anything. I had some very good years. Let's say I had a few very good years on Epson Tour where I made a fine living. Like I was okay. I was never, thank God, in a position where I felt like I needed to stop playing because I
mm,
couldn't make enough money. But it was a total grind. The LPGA seasons that I played, 3 of them until that point, or 4. I was 15, 17, 18, 19, maybe 4. I didn't play. I wasn't a top 30 player on the LPGA. I
mm,
was grinding every time to keep my card. And I think a lot of it stemmed from kind of the health issues that I went through 2015. So smooth sailing through Q school. I got my LPGA and my LAT card. And I was thinking, okay, I started off my 2015 year rookie season with 3 sponsors, fairly large sponsors,
mhm.
which is also not common at that point. But I think I was ranked maybe 6 in the world at the time as an amateur. So I
Yeah.
think, just being a high profile golfer, that came naturally to get some more sponsorships. And you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to have the best time and I'm just going to play good golf. Didn't happen. Got really sick at the beginning of 2015
Okay.
with just like, I mean, I didn't know at the time that it was Lyme disease, but like I thought it was just the flu, and then suddenly the flu turned into a bunch of different symptoms and struggling with my stomach. I literally couldn't make it through rounds because I was so miserable with like digestive issues, with like uh my like joints hurting, like crazy,
Mm.
crazy things. You're like, okay, I'm not 80 to 90 years old. Like this should not happen. Trying to think, I'm like, okay, arthritis, like I'm 21 years old or 22 years old. So like all these symptoms started coming. I started really struggling. I had my appendix removed because we thought it was that. I had another lower abdominal surgery, thinking maybe it's like some cysts of some sorts,
Mm.
et cetera, et cetera. So my rookie year was really tough. And the thing that I didn't know at the time was kind of working with a medical policy. Like I didn't even realize like I could have taken a medical through all of this. Long story short, I basically only played about half the season and could try to grind it out, but I lost a lot of weight that year. I just wasn't feeling well. Lost my card at the end of the year. And it was basically okay, like regroup, start back on what at that time was Symetra Tour. Um and try to figure things out. But I felt like I spent my first 3 years on tour trying to figure out health issues more than
Oh,
playing. I felt like I didn't play with like the full energy that I had. Um, I felt that I was always pretty tired towards the end of the season. I actually played a pretty good season on Epson on Semester Tour in 2016. I think I missed my card by 1 spot. I think I came in 11th. After carding, I think 10 top tens.
Oh,
I
wow.
just didn't win. And so I came in second like 2 or 3 times, but it wasn't enough because you basically out there, you have to win in
Hmm.
order to make a huge jump in the rankings. And decent season though. Next season actually played pretty well too. And at the end of that season, 17, I got my card back on LPGA and through Q School. And I remember like this constant balance between, okay, now I'm end of 2017. I know this is like timeline wise a little bit complicated, but like in 17 I figured out it was Lyme disease. So I also was able to kind of go on a protocol for myself and started going on really strict diets, especially on the road.
Hmm.
So energy levels were up. I started gaining weight again. I started working out a lot more. So 18, I got my card back and played a decent season in 2018, but nothing, like you said, nothing amazing, nothing that what I would have expected out of myself.
Okay.
I was expecting to go out and like win golf tournaments.
Hmm.
But at that point, I was like, anytime I made a top 10, I was feeling pretty good about myself. And so just a grind. And I remember in 2019, played LPGA, but lost my card at the end of the year and went back to Q school. And I tripled the last at Q school to
Oh.
not get my card. So actually literally miss it by one. I had to make double to keep my card. And it's a par three and I tripled. I went in the water. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No.
Like my brother was caddying for me. He's like, I just want to hug you. I think in like 3 years from now, we can talk about like why this happened because I know you're devastated right now, but I was just, okay, what am I doing? Now I just lost my card again unnecessarily. And I remember telling my mom, I said, okay, listen, I'm 27 at the time. I want to quit. I legit want to quit. I'm like over it.
Okay.
I don't want to go back to Epson. And my mom said, why don't you set yourself like a limit or a goal or a timeline of some sorts? And I said, okay, I'm 27 now. I mean, I had been together with Max, my husband, God, 7 years at that point.
Hmm.
And I knew like, okay, I want a family. I want all these things. What am I doing here? Like, you know how it is as a golfer. It's crazy. You spiral like one shot you hit and you go, what am I doing with my life? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm miserable. You're not making any money. Like, what the hell? How are you going to support and this and that? And why are you paying for this person to help you and this person to help? Like, it was just crazy. So then my mom and I said, okay, I'm 27 now. I'm going to play until I'm 30. I'm going to give myself 3 seasons max. If I don't reach the goals that I want to reach, I'm done. And somehow, obviously, 2020 was COVID. Like, COVID started. And I remember playing. Did I play? So I played, I don't even think Epson Tour even started because I had to go back on Epson Tour and it hadn't even started and everything was shutting down. I lived in Arizona, thankfully, and I had these Cactus Tour events that I could play, like mini tour. And I said, okay, I don't know how long we're going to be shut down for, but I'm going to work out every single day. I'm going to practice every day. I'm going to play these mini tour events. I'm going to grind so hard these next few months. And it somehow like it set off a work ethic, I think, in me that I don't think I had until that point.
Mm.
I always was stuck in this like, I'm practicing, but I'm not doing the right things and I'm not giving myself enough time. I'm playing about 30 weeks of the year, trying to take every tournament I can. But I never ever actually gave myself time to work on things, to really stand like be in a short game area for 3 hours and work on 40 to 60-yard pitches.
Yeah.
I just kind of accepted that I don't like that yardage and would try to never play to that yardage. But I'm like, you've been on tour for so long and you like haven't even really grinded that part of your game out. You haven't tried to, I don't know, shape the ball both ways, try to figure out like little things,
Hmm.
right? Where you're like knowing your game, trying to figure out your game, trying to realize why you do things on the golf course. Where do the mistakes come from? Knowing your swing, like a lot of these things. And then also just being fit, like your general fitness.
Yeah.
So I had worked with my trainer for a long time at that point for 3 years or 4 years. But I said to him, I said, we're training every single day and I'm going to be the strongest I can. I'm going to be able to play after lifting and all these little things. And that spring season where everything was shut down and everyone was miserable other than me, I was like having the best time for some reason. Um, like I felt like I became like a completely different player. It was wild. Just maybe the work ethic that I actually had in college because I had to.
Hmm.
Finally, I had that again, and this like just a good structure. I do this in the morning, I do that then, I rest then. And then I did that every day. I said Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I do this. Tuesday, Thursdays, I do this. And so I kept that even through those Cactus Tour events. I noticed how I was like playing better and better and how even with my not so good ball striking, I was scoring really well and like really worked on my putting, which was always kind of a little bit of an Achilles heel, like a very streaky thing in
Hmm.
my game to then obviously just the things that had to happen for me to even qualify for the British was crazy. But
Okay.
um yeah, that's just basically what I guess what I would say is just like this, it's an accumulation of things you learn over
Yeah.
6, 7 years of who you are to then get to that point and then yeah, and then the win in 2020. But um
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, fascinating. Before we get to that, obviously, I think obviously you mentioned there's a bit of a roller coaster ride. It sounded like, right, and trying times along the way. I think you listed at one point all of the the emotions you were feeling, and then obviously, and I didn't know that. Even getting to a point where you were considering or saying you wanted to quit, which is huge. What triggered you to get that kind of, I guess, kick up the butt? Was it COVID, or was it what was it internally that kind
I
of gave you that?
I think I think at that point, so this was it was Q school December of 2019 when I missed this beginning of December when I missed by one and total downward spiral and kind of this. That was the first legit time in 7 years that I said, "I don't wanna do it anymore,"
Hmm.
because I feel like it's changing the person that I am. Golf is changing who I am, and I've always been off the golf course. I'd like to think a very fun, enjoyable, loving person. I get along with just about anyone, and I hated that it turned me into someone that I'm not.
Hmm.
Because I would get on the golf course and I'd be so negative. I would literally be walking by myself 50 yards ahead of my caddy and just be in this dark zone in my head of like things that are not going my way and like
Okay.
feeling sorry for myself, like super unnecessary, just things that do not help or that things like doing everything that I can control wrong.
Okay.
And I think that that's I actually had a conversation not just with my mom, but with my husband at the time about not that came out wrong. He's still my husband.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that time, sorry. Phone falling. We had a conversation and he said to me, he said, like, listen, golf is so It's such a crazy sport. You can go out there and it's really just a game, right? You go out there and you can have an amazing ball striking day and shoot even par, and then the next day you're hitting it like garbage, but you
Hmm.
shoot 4 under
Yeah.
because you chip in and you make this putt and that putt. And he said your attitude and your mental game, it has to change. If it doesn't change, then you should quit. You should stop because
Okay.
it's not gonna help you. You're literally you're destroying who you are, which is the person we all love, just because you can't figure it out in your head how to be nice to yourself on the golf course. And
Yeah.
so he said, if you go, and when I said to him, I said, okay, I have this goal and I think I'm giving myself 3 more seasons and 3 more seasons of like all in. And he said, okay, what does that mean? And I said, okay, that means working on all the things that I'm not doing well, including obviously the mental part of the game, which is the
Hmm.
biggest part, but making a schedule, like grinding out, like being very structured with my practice. I think after college, I struggled a lot with that because college, you have your time blocks. You have to practice at a certain time. You have to do your homework another time. When you turn professional, you have the whole day to either work really deliberately on your game and efficiently and make a schedule or waste it away with some other stuff that you're
Hmm.
doing. And I was just not structured and organized enough at the time to really figure out like what do I need to do in order to become better and get to that next level. And I think it was so eye-opening to me, honestly, missing Q school by one and just this whole pattern of, getting back into I should be doing this and I should be
Hmm.
doing this and my game is good enough to do this. All the woulda, coulda, shouldas had to go away because you're not above anyone else. You're not the girls that all play there, they all have good ball striking and they all have maybe your ball striking actually is superior to them, but their mental game is
Yeah.
just so much better, so they're getting it together.
Yeah.
And so getting that out of my head of like, I should be doing this and look, this girl's doing that. And how is that happening when I am so much better of a ball striker, right? I mean, we all have these thoughts. But it's just not the right approach and it's never helpful
Yeah.
because these girls are doing something different than you are and it's working. And so that kind of triggered this whole thing of actually having this conversation with Max at the time and saying, okay, this is what I have to do. With my trainer, I said, we're meeting whatever 4 times a week. And COVID just helped me because everyone was stuck at home. So I could basically just go and use this time that I didn't play. That was huge for me to not
Yeah.
play for about 4 months and actually just say, I'm gonna go and see you every day. We're gonna work on the physical part of everything. I'm gonna go see my coach once a week and I'm gonna work this stuff out. And then I'm lucky enough to play these mini tour events just to see how I'm developing and how the game's like. So I would say it's a mix of just having that conversation, like an open and honest conversation with Max at the time, and then honestly benefiting off of having a big break at the beginning of 2020 to really hone in on this structured practice that I want to do. And even to this day, I get stuck when any season I've played ever since, I still get stuck in the pattern of playing too much and
Okay.
not working on myself and my game enough.
Hmm.
And sometimes I have to take it back to that time and go, even if I took 2 months off and I missed 5 events or 6 events, that might be better for me than playing at week in, week
Yeah.
out and feeling like I am not behind the 8 ball or something.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's probably
Yeah.
what would have
But
triggered it.
I mean, it's good, I guess, that you eventually came to that realization, right? Because I feel like a lot of athletes out there probably don't come to that realization, and a lot of them continue in this kind of, I wouldn't say rut, but without having that little bit of a wake up call. So I think it's yeah, refreshing to hear that, really, isn't it? That you had that
Yeah.
kind of moment where it was like you had to sit down with Max and your mum and had that little bit of a okay,
Yeah,
let's do
I
this.
I do think you just have to have that team. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's just a part of that. That's where you say the athletes that don't get out of that, I feel like it's the ones that they don't have those people around them
Okay.
to help them out
Mm,
and to realize that there's something going on in your head because it takes someone else to get it out of you.
yeah.
You're not just one day sitting down and going, "These are my thoughts,"
Hmm.
and you start just throwing them out there. Who are you throwing them out there to?
Yeah.
Who do you have to listen? Who do you have to help you and to not think you're crazy or make fun of you? I was lucky Max played the game himself for so long and
Mm,
was also professional. Like, he knows the reason he's not playing anymore is exactly that. So he knows exactly what's going on in my head.
mm,
It's just that sometimes you have to hear it from someone else, and someone else has to get it out of you. And I think just having them around was
yeah.
critical for me.
And I think honestly that goes, obviously we're speaking from an athletic sense here, but I think that goes for anyone in life, to be honest. Kind of
Yeah.
having that support network around you and being able to, share with other people, but also listen to other people. It's super important. Um,
Yeah.
there's not only in the golf world necessarily, but you know, completely agree with you. Could not agree more with you that yeah, it's can be life changing, really, can't it? Just having that network around you.
Yeah, and I think it is also, I mean, because you just said it, it is for everything that goes on in your life. It isn't
Mm,
just for the sport. It's for you in general. How can you be a better person? How can you better yourself to, no matter what it is, have not have these thoughts? Because it's, yes, it comes out in the sport for me, but it's an inherent thing that I struggle with in the rest of my life, most likely and subconsciously. So I almost think for people that are not in sports, sometimes the worst mental problems occur because it's something in your life that is literally like, for me, at least, let's say it stays in the golf world. Like, I'm
mm,
struggling with something that is it's a sport, it's the job. And then I can somehow get away from that. But I think that
okay,
when you're mentally struggling with something that is just inherent every day in you, especially then, you have to have someone to talk to because
yeah.
it's just, you know,
Well, it's in every part
most
of your
important
life,
thing in
then, isn't
life.
it? It's
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Um, I'm just conscious of time. I feel like I could
Mhm.
talk to you for about 4 hours, but I
Uh,
want to obviously touch on Troon, the Open. Um, I think, you've obviously told the story a million times, so we don't need to go through it in big detail. But when you look back at it now, obviously, what is it now? 6 years ago? Six?
yeah,
Yeah, 6 years
6,
ago.
yeah.
What's kind of the first feeling that comes to you when you think of that week?
I think that the biggest feeling was kind of just the sense of accomplishment. I think at the time, obviously having struggled for a long time and finally being rewarded for something that you've worked for your whole life and seeing yourself in the position that you knew you could always be in. I think that was the biggest thing when I won and like just holding the trophy. I'm like, this I feel like should have come a lot earlier,
Okay.
but now finally having gotten it done just was so like, I think just that feeling of accomplishment is probably how I would describe it, of just kind of culmination of work and everything you put into it, and um just being where you feel like you should have been for a long time but haven't.
Yeah. And another big, I know I'm kind of breezing over that, but like I said, I feel like you've talked about the Open so many times already, and it's great to hear. Obviously, how you look back on that week fondly, and Yeah, I'm guessing you're obviously able to share it with family and friends. Were they there with you actually? I know Max was, but
Really just Max. My
okay.
parents were they were in the US. They were actually on the West Coast. I couldn't fly anyone in because of COVID.
Oh, of course.
So we were
Yeah.
in our strict
Mhm.
bubble. And because I played in Arizona the week before on Epson tour, um, I had to basically I didn't fly in until Tuesday evening of that week, and with Max, and then we had to get into the bubble, and that it was like such
Gosh.
a hassle. I almost couldn't even play a practice round on Wednesday because uh, the whole process of getting into the bubble was such an ordeal. It was so crazy. But
God, I don't even
but
want to
yeah, we
think
didn't.
about that anymore. COVID times, it
No,
sends
no,
shivers down my
no,
spine just
no.
hearing the
I
bubble.
will stop. I will stop talking about it because I don't want to.
No.
But it was Max's family was in Germany, and I remember we flew out 6 a.m. the next morning. Obviously, I booked my flight not assuming that I would have to party hard the night before. So our flight was literally at 6:20 a.m. and to Germany after on the Monday following, and then we could celebrate with Max's family and with our friends in Germany, and that was super fun. But I didn't get to celebrate with my family until a week or so after that when I saw them back in Arizona. So
Okay.
um yeah, just Max with me.
Um, Topic change. So you've mentioned your daughter a couple times.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mentioned this before already as well. I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I know our situations are completely different. But I think, understand, how much parenthood kind of turns your life upside down a little bit. But
Mhm.
wanted to kind of hear from you what becoming a mum was like for you.
I mean, something for me. So I always had the intention of starting a family, not too late in life. It was, I always wanted to make sure I prioritize it because I think, I think growing up in the family that I grew up in, to me, it was something I knew I wanted to have.
Hmm.
So, um, becoming a mom, I mean, just even the point where I got pregnant was pretty exciting because I don't know, I think sometimes you play golf for so long and then you're trying to get pregnant, you don't know if it's gonna work. We got lucky, it happened right away, and I think the excitement for both of us was there, and I think it's funny because, obviously from a golf standpoint, a lot of people always talk about your biggest accomplishment being winning the big tournaments in your life. But to me, just having her is like way above that. I I don't the day becoming a mom, like from delivery on, I mean, delivery was yeah, a handful, but then having her and, like, holding this baby for the first
Mm,
time is the craziest thing in your life. Like, you think you have adrenaline after winning a golf tournament.
mm,
You have nothing compared to, like, holding a baby in your hand and just thinking, "That's crazy, like, I just grew this human, and then I delivered this human, and now we have to take care of this tiny thing that's gonna grow every day." I think is the most incredible thing in the world. And like we talked about it briefly earlier on, but it's just these developmental stages for the babies and then when they get older and like
mm.
to me it's a mind-blowing process.
Yeah.
And even playing in 2023 and 24, no, 24 and 25, sorry, is with her on the road. It's just like golf has like not the same meaning at
Okay.
all. Like you play and you're enjoying it and you're having a good time, but you come home and you play with in my case with my daughter and I go, this is the best time I'm gonna have all day because it doesn't matter what I play. The score doesn't matter, nothing. And so I don't know, just it's definitely changed me a lot, but I would say for sure for the better. When it comes to my mental health, like even on the golf course, I'm I'm able to deal with tough rounds and adversity so much better because I'm like, you know what? I come home, we have a roof over our heads. I have this amazing little kid that's growing and obviously we're very biased, but she's a cute, like she's just like adorable. So I can't wait to hold her and snuggle her. And I don't know. It's crazy. I love it. I think it's it also kind of definitely my calling. At times I love golf so much that I want to continue playing even after number two, but I know that being able to give these kids like a good life and is means so much more to me in the grand scheme of everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, yeah, I mean, you hold them once and you look at them and it's just all troubles are gone,
I know it's weird.
except for the troubles that they make.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah.
not gone.
We won't get into that. But
Yeah, yeah.
but it is, yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird one. I always, it's always the cliche thing that we've just said, it's like, yeah, oh, your whole world changes, but it is
Mhm,
true. It's once they're actually
mhm.
there, it's crazy. Um, you have also spoken quite openly about, you know, I don't know. I mean, you'll be able to describe it better, obviously, but kind of trying to find the balance between being a mum and being an
Mm,
athlete. I think also read kind of sense of guilt maybe somewhere as well.
yeah.
Did you want to share anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard, and I think that I thought I would come out and it would be easier to play, but there are multiple factors, I think, that, I just in 2024 when I came back that I started to realize. One was, first of all, I chose to breastfeed her for a long time,
Mhm.
so I basically from the moment I came out on tour again, she was 8 months old and I was, still full-time I mean, I breastfed her the entire season. And so it was that whole balance of, okay, doing that, but then going out and playing, but having this attachment with her almost of, okay, when I'm out there, I have to it has to be worth my time.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm just leaving her for no reason.
Okay.
I struggled with that so much in both seasons, 2024 and 25, because I I I I found it tough to go out there and just completely leave that other part behind.
Mhm.
I think I always felt like whenever I wasn't playing well, I was basically wasting my time and I was not doing either of my jobs that I have correctly. And I think that was the hardest part. Feeling like I'm insufficient in like two areas of life, even though I know I wasn't. Like, and everyone said, "You're an amazing mom." Like, the moment you get off the golf course and you come home, like, I was full-time mom for
Yeah.
her. And you have a job and that's normal. But I just couldn't get that in my head. Like, to me, the number one job is being her mom. And so when I'm on the golf course, I better not waste my time and waste her time out there. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. So I felt that guilt a lot when I was out there.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine it. It's challenging, isn't it? It's time, really, isn't it? Like you said, and there's that sense of, if you're not playing well, that I'm guessing feeling of guilt is what I'm kind of getting from what you're saying around what I'm
Absolutely.
actually
Yeah.
doing out here. Um,
Hmm.
but then you went on to win last Mother's Day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, the year after you becoming a mum. What did that mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously a lot because I think in this dream world that we have where, you're trying to do both things in life, being able to do something successfully in front of her, obviously on Mother's Day as a bonus, to me was the coolest feeling ever. I was so nervous down the stretch, the last 4 or 5 holes,
Really?
because I knew I was the only one, that only mom other than, I mean, obviously Chrissy Kerr was playing, but I knew, like, score-wise, she wasn't playing a factor anymore at that point, so it was really up to me. And from the people that were still in contention, the girls, I was the only one that's a mom. And like winning on Mother's Day to me would mean the world. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I had dad on the bag. And I remember I was just like, these last 4 holes, okay, keep it together. Maya was out there with Max. And so it meant a lot. Just being at home too, home game,
Yeah.
a lot of friends, a lot of family. My brother came out with his 3 girls, and it was very,
Amazing.
very cool. Just a nice celebration too after we were done.
One for the memory books, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I picked a good day.
Yeah, definitely.
Put myself a little bit under pressure at the beginning of the week. I said, I have a chance to win on Mother's Day. And it's funny how then your like brain and your body start working together and actually strive for the same goal and are able to accomplish that. I should probably
Weird
try
how
that
that
more often.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Try that
No,
again.
that is amazing. But thinking about that then, so last question really, or main last topic really is obviously you mentioned you're pregnant again. Congratulations, by the way. How far
Thank
along
you.
are you? If you don't mind me asking.
30, almost 31 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Amazing.
we're in non-week terms. I don't even know what that is, like
Yeah.
7-ish months
I don't either.
almost.
I'll
Yeah.
need to do the
Yeah.
maths afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's exciting. So I
Yeah.
always usually like to ask with what's something you're looking forward to. I don't think I really need to ask you that, but what I would say what I would do want to ask you is kind of now with number 2 on the way. Is there anything that you're kind of um, planning differently than you are for when you know Maya was on the way?
I'm just a lot more relaxed. I think I think what's a little bit tougher is this idea that I think after Maya, I was pretty sure I definitely want to come back and play. Um, having one kid, I think with a second one on the way, I would love to play again in 2027, and that's my plan is to play in 2027. But
Okay.
I think that the actual timeline of how things are going to work out, I'm not as set on. I think with her, I made the mistake of being really hard on myself with my recovery and thinking I'm not recovering fast enough and doing things fast enough to get
Mm,
ready for a 2024 season. A reason why I got back so quickly was because I still had major exemptions left, and you lose
yeah.
those major exemptions if you don't play. They freeze your status, but they don't give you those exemptions back.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I think I just was a little bit, yeah, I would definitely say hard on myself as far as getting ready. This time around, I feel like I just take it as I go.
Yeah.
As I feel better, maybe I start sprinkling in a little bit of practice and getting back in shape, but I'm not all about, oh no, we're 4 months, 5 months postpartum and I'm still super out of shape. It is what it
Yeah.
is. Like, I know what to expect now this time around. Every body is so different. Obviously, every delivery is different. So
Hmm.
I think that not not trying to glue yourself to that certain way of how you want to do things or your timeline or a strategy. Just
Yeah.
take it as you go and definitely be
Yeah.
more relaxed.
Allowing for a little bit more flexibility and not putting
Yeah.
yourself under too much pressure to
Yeah.
because yeah, as you rightly know, there's no fixed routine or schedule, is there? You've got to be flexible when you've got little ones.
Yeah,
But
yeah, flexible is
yeah.
right. I think it's hard because as an athlete, when I talk about that routine that I had going into that COVID year and then also the last few years of playing before I got pregnant, I mean, you might as well just throw that routine
Hmm.
that's out the window. There is no every day is so unpredictable, and some days you're needed more than other days, and sometimes it just works out and you're able to have more time. But I think it changes. You have to be so, I talk a lot about that with the moms on tour because everyone asked me, they said, "How did you do it coming back?" And I said, "It took me a while, but I realized you have to just use the time efficiently that you do have and not feel
Mm,
guilty about, oh, I only practiced 3 days of the week today, this week."
yeah,
That is, that's awesome. If you can practice 3 times a week, 3 hours, that's amazing. Like you're not doing bad, you're doing great. And that
yeah,
mindset has to change a lot because you can get a lot done in 3 hours, 3 times a week. That's 9 hours of practice. If you use it well and you put all your devices away and you're 9 to 12, I'm out there. Um, it's totally doable. It's just that you have to be able to separate yourself from that mindset of, oh, I'm not practicing 5, 6 times a week anymore and
yeah.
putting in 6 hours a day. That's just not
No,
reality. So
yeah. It's being realistic, but also what you said earlier as well, that not everyone's the same, right? Like
well,
just because one person, I don't know, comes back within a couple months doesn't mean that someone needs to feel guilty for not doing that, right?
exactly.
Um, yeah. And again, I think that goes for outside of golf as well. It's not only golf related, but yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's a lot of social media pressure these days.
Yes.
Makes
That
you
as well.
feel like you're behind the 8 ball
Yeah.
right off the bat
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
feel like you have to do it all, which you don't.
You don't. Exactly right. Well, Sophia, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for your time and
Yeah.
wish you all the best now in the next couple months. Hopefully it goes smoothly. Doesn't, not too much discomfort, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I know that's very easy for me to say,
I
but,
know, I
but,
know.
um,
That's speedy
but
delivery.
yeah,
Manifest it.
exactly. And wishing you and the family all the best, obviously, going
Thank
forward.
you.
So thank you.
Thanks, Annie. Appreciate it. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.